I did not build this cabinet. My friend Buck the Builder, who is a custom home remodeler, does high-end cabinetry, things like that in the Bryan, Texas area, built this cabinet. However, he did subcontract me to build that really long, I think about 14-foot countertop that was there, and that posed some unique challenges for me that I'm going to share with you today. Howdy, my name is Robert Dailey, owner of Dailey Woodworks in Bryan, Texas, and I build custom furniture and custom cabinetry. So with this countertop, we decided to use red oak and stain it to match some existing cabinetry and furniture that the customer already had in their house. The problem is I wasn't able to get 16-foot long boards to make a 14-foot top. I was able to get about 10.5 to 12-foot boards, and so we had to figure out how to glue these up and do kind of that staggered butcher block style of glue up. Now, to get an edge grain to edge grain joint to be nice and tight, there's lots of ways to do that. I wasn't super experienced with it, but like any tabletop, I started with the basics of edge joining, ripping the sides. We decided to do about 4-inch planks to glue up. That way the entire thing, I think, ended up being 16 inches. I'll be honest, I forgot I even filmed this project. I did this back in January, and I just found the footage for it. So here it is. You can see how I've staggered the edges. I've tried to make everything match up and look nice. We wanted a nice consistent look. So now I'm chopping off like a 2-foot or so piece to fit in that little short spot that's right there. And then I just focused on laying everything out. I had to angle the workbenches in my shop to fit and then line up all my other workbenches. That adjustable height workbench is great, and that is one reason why anybody in a small shop will tell you get all your workbenches at the same height. I mismeasured my small workbench and it's about 1 inch higher, but you know what? I made it work. You know what? You can make things work. You don't have to have perfect work surfaces to get a good flat top. You can see that joints, how those joints line up right there since they're not open yet. But we just lay out our carpenter's triangles, and whenever you're doing a complex glue up like this, label everything. And label it twice, and label it precisely. Pencil sans off. It's okay. So you can see I'm still working on it. I'm marking every single joint on how it goes together, which side's up, which side's down. And this is a cool trick I'm showing you here. What I did is I butt up my two pieces, and then I'm cutting a little bit off of both sides at once. The reason I'm doing this is I needed that to be a perfect joint. By doing it that way, if my fence, which I think is 90 degrees, but if it's off, 0.02 degrees or off 0.1 degree or something like that, that mirrors that imperfection on both of those pieces, so that joint will be nice and tight by just butting them together and then cutting it. I'm not sure where I learned that. I'm sure it was on YouTube, but I'm passing that trick on to you. If I remember who I saw that trick from originally, I'll give them credit for it. So here I'm figuring out, okay, I've got to join these pieces together now. So dominoes will hold them nice and flat, but they won't pull them together. Pocket screws will pull them together, but pocket screws tend to want to walk on you. So I combine those two. I use dominoes to hold it flat and to get my alignment, and then I use the pocket screw to pull it tight, clamp it up, and of course I put glue in all of those joints. I've got several videos on how to use the paddles and the gauges and things like that on the Festool domino. I'll link to it at the end. If you're wanting to see more how to get the most out of your domino, I think it's a worthwhile video to watch. A lot of times I'll use those little offsets and cross stops to just put all my dominoes in. However, this time I actually marked with that big framing square where every single domino was going to be. You don't always have to do that, but in this case, that extra precision of wanting to see how everything was going to fit together made the most sense, especially without having the little parts that are then joined together afterwards. I want to say it was something like 76 dominoes that I used on this project. I lost count somewhere in the way, and I remember telling somebody how many that I used at one point, but I couldn't find that message thread anywhere. And now I'm starting the longest single glue up I have ever done. I think I glued this up about 15 feet long, and I think they cut it to size on site to, scribe to the walls and things like that. And now I'm just working on gluing and clamping. You see, I went ahead and clamped it together just because it was so long that I went ahead and did that, and it gave me that 5 minutes of glue holding power. And yeah, it was a chore. You know how most people say you can never have too many clamps? Well, this is the first project I've done where I was like, oh crap, I really might not have enough clamps for this. But you make it work. I used pretty much every big clamp I had. If it was big enough to fit on this project, it was used. And now we're taking our clamps off. And clamps are off, and then we just start sanding it down. The glue up ended up very nice and flat. And then, start with the Rotex with 80 grit, flatten everything out, that any lips that are there. Then switch to 120 grit with the Rotex, and then finish it with 120 with my Mercaderos. We wanted a little bullnose lip on this, and this is how I put it on with a domino, and I thought it was cool. I got a good little cross section of the domino there, so you can kind of see how that lays up. Here is the finished glue up. You can see kind of how those laddered or staggered joints, kind of like a hardwood floor would be there, and I was happy with it. They were happy with it, and I believe the customer was happy with the finished project. Unfortunately, this is the only picture that I have that they sent me. Apparently they are just about to finish up this full remodel they did and are about to have some professional photos taken, so I will put them there. But if you're in Bryan and you need your house remodeled, Buck the Builder is your guy. If you want custom furniture or something like that, I'm your guy. We like working together, and y'all have a wonderful day. Thanks for watching. Recreationalwoodworker.com is my other website that exists to help people build great furniture. And at the recreationalwoodworker.com, we have woodworking plans for many of the various furniture projects that I show on this channel, as well as tool reviews, resources, other things like that help you build your own furniture, cabinetry, and things like that. So check out the recreationalwoodworker.com, shop our plans. It's a great way to support the channel.